Commander Averill stared out the viewing portal of his patrol ship, taking in the lush jungle vista of Kurtis Prime spread out below. As homeworld to one of the Galactic Federation's most lucrative zoos, containing rare and endangered species, it was his duty to ensure the preserve remained undisturbed. His thoughts turned to the reserve's most controversial inhabitants, the barely evolved humans that some factions sought to retire as too volatile. But Orl had observed the humans for cycles and sensed an inner spark, however crudely expressed. Perhaps there were insights to gain by watching their primitive progress a while longer. His comm beeped. "Commander, sensors detect an unknown ship exiting hyperspace near the outer moon. Configuration unknown to our databases." Orl scowled. Unannounced visitors rarely meant good. "Scramble escorts but hold position. I'll investigate alone and attempt contact." His small jet weaved through the tree line, coming upon a large, bulky ship partly cloaked among boulders. As he approached, figures emerged, a reptilian species resembling hulking dinosaurs. Their dialect was unfamiliar as they communicated via ultrasonic pulsations. Without warning, blaster fire erupted. Orl's jet exploded in a ball of flame. He awoke in a cell aboard the alien craft, battered but alive. His captors, the Dromek, had begun invading other systems but faced resistance. Believing Kurtis Prime lightly defended due to its zoo, they aimed to establish a forward base. Meanwhile, on the surface, the humans' compound seemed peaceful despite the turmoil raging beyond its barriers. However, Lynn had learned to trust her instincts. As a lone child found wandering the wilds and adopted by the clan, she had an affinity for sensing disturbances few others noticed. Now, a tingling at the base of her skull warned of impending dangers. Gathering her charges, she herded the young into an underground bunker and armed the elder humans with sharpened tools, primitive but their only defense. Night fell as the first energy pulses rocked the jungle. Through breaks in the canopy, flashes of weapons fire and explosions could be seen erupting across the preserve. The Dromek landed assault transports, pouring forth squads to raise any resistance and secure strategic points. First contact with the indigenous species went as expected. A few scattered shots forced retreat into obscurity. All that remained was mopping up the zoo for valuable genetic samples and biomatter. But as dawn rose over smoldering ruins, their overconfidence became apparent. While patrols encountered little at first beyond burnt wreckage, energy and munitions caches went missing under their very stalking eyes. Ambushes materialized from forest shadows, attackers vanishing before reprisals could land. Casualties slowly mounted from slashes and crude but precise blows to vitals. The Dromek captain was losing patience. Using scanners, they traced one ambush back to its source, the humans' territory. He ordered an airstrike to level the primitive encampment, end this farce, and retrieve specimens. But as missile launchers swiveled into position, something shocking occurred. Armed with primitive but skillfully crafted blades and launchers, the humans burst from camouflaged tunnel mouths surrounding the landing field in a coordinated wave. With lightning speed and grim determination, they cut down exposed gunners and engineers, swarming over transports in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Their attacks flowed with an almost artistic lethal grace, voices raised in wordless primal cries. Within moments, the ambushed Dromek force lay dead or dying, and from concealment, other humans picked off any who broke and ran with uncanny accuracy. A simple but meticulously executed plan had nullified technology with discipline, surprise, and sheer ferocity. The captain reassessed. These primitives were far more cunning and formidable than profile suggested. But he was not yet beaten. Orbital bombardment could reduce this entire moon to slag. No, There was profit to be had here if these animals could be tamed and directed. A new strategy was called for, one appealing to baser instincts while cultivating a potent new asset under his command. The humans' unleashed savagery might yet serve the invasion if properly motivated. And so the game of manipulation began. Lynn knelt by the riverside, lost in thought as she scrubbed bloodstains from weapons. The clan had survived another threat through her forewarning and their fierce, coordinated defense. But for how long could such victories continue against an enemy wielding far superior firepower? A hand rested gently on her shoulder. She looked up into the weathered but keen eyes of Kadok, elder of the tribe. Though past his prime, his insight and experience kept them alive in these dark times. "You carry a heavy burden guiding our people as none other can," Kadok said softly. "Yet it is in facing challenges that humanity finds its true mettle." Lynn sighed. "I fear my instincts alone will not save us if the invaders gain control of the moon. We must uncover their weaknesses and sow dissent in their ranks if we are to endure." Kadok nodded slowly. "When the aliens next parley, I will stand at your side so their manipulations fall upon wiser ears. Together, perhaps, we can turn this situation to our advantage through understanding our nature and theirs." In the smoldering ruins of the landing field, the Dromek captain stewed. The humans had defied every projection, killing well-trained troops with bare hands. Clearly more extreme motivations were needed. He activated a comm bead. "Send the prisoners." Within moments, battered Commander Orl was dragged before him in shackles, flanked by human captives. The captain gripped Orl by a horn. "Order your primitives to stand down or I flay you piece by piece as example," he snarled. Orl met his gaze evenly. "Torture will not bend me to harm others. Your coercion only strengthens our unity against tyranny." Enraged, the captain backhanded Orl aside and focused on the humans, a male and female. He drew his plasma knife, savoring their terror. "Now, beast, things can be pleasant or end in agony. Choose obey and live as property. Refuse, she dies screaming as you watch." But to his surprise, the humans did not cower. The male stepped protectively before the female, eyes burning with an emotion the Dromek never anticipated seeing in an animal: righteous fury. In that instant, some innate spark flared within the captain, compelling him to reconsider. These humans possessed a quality transcending mere survival instincts, one that could forge them into the deadliest of allies if guided properly. It was time for a gentler persuasion. The rising sun crested Kirzaz Prime as Kadok and Lynn ventured to parley under a flag of truce. They found the surviving Dromek encamped amid carnage, clustering around something emitting ultrasonic pulses. Approaching cautiously, their eyes widened. It was Orl, healed but battered, emanating a directed signal. "My bond brothers, I have learned these aliens mean only harm. But the humans can be reasoned with if shown respect. Together, perhaps we can end this conflict." Exchanging a glance, Lynn and Kadok sensed opportunity where before had been only fear and danger. And in that moment, the first glimmers of unity took shape between old enemies, fueled by hope that understanding and partnership might overcome the darkest of motives. Survival had found new meaning, and a long road lay ahead. Weeks passed as an uneasy truce held over Kirzaz Prime. The Dromek captain saw potential in forging the humans into obedient shock troops, but underestimated their growing bonds with Orl and his squad. Under the commander's gentle tutelage, Lynn and Kadok's people learned rudimentary tactics and technology use, while the Dromek gained grudging respect for humanity's fierce spirit. This allowed strategic planning neither side could achieve alone. Tension mounted as orbital scans detected a massive invasion fleet approaching. The captain doubled conscription efforts, but his cruelty only stiffened human resistance. As vessels dropped out of hyperspace, he ordered a full-scale raid on the human settlement to seize recalcitrants by force. But this time, ambush came from within. With Orl's covert help, explosives were smuggled into the city in assault craft. As Dromek forces streamed in under cover of bombardment, charges detonated, downing gunships and collapsing buildings onto advancing squads. In the chaos, humans and now defecting Dromek poured from hidden tunnels, surging into the breach with ferocity and newly crafted weapons. Lyn led from the front, grace and fury incarnate as she wove between foes. Where she passed, arteries were severed and blasters seized to turn against their former wielders. The captain watched in wrathful disbelief via command ship as his forward units were ripped apart despite air support. But there yet remained one final gambit, targeting scanners locked onto the human city, set to annihilate this insurrection at its root. As missiles streaked in, a small fleet emerged between them and the settlement, commandeered Dromek cutters and shuttles bearing Orl's personal banner. Under Kadok's guidance, human warriors manned systems alongside Dromek defectors, coordinated by Orl through extraordinary biofeedback abilities. Counter-battery fire lashed out, interceptors launching in precision volleys. Each salvo of incoming rockets was engaged and destroyed, debris raining down in harmless chunks. The humans had mastered shipboard combat with alarming swiftness, shielding their homes through newfound industrial might and unity. In a microcosm of humanity's potential, what had been disparate individuals just cycles past now functioned seamlessly as one organism, defending each other through cooperation rather than chaos or discord. They had risen to complement capabilities formerly suppressed, awakening dormant greatness through companionship rather than coercion. Enraged, the Dromek captain ordered an all-out assault from orbit. But even as his warships opened fire, a new presence arrived. Sleek Federation cruisers warped in-system, disabling invasion craft with pinpoint pulses that overloaded reactors and balls of plasma. The Kurzaz Preserve's protectors had arrived, responding to Orl's covert distress call. Facing overwhelming opposition, remaining Dromek vessels fled in disarray. Their invasion had crumbled against a defense few could have predicted, one anchored not in technology alone but fellowship between former enemies. In the victorious aftermath, Lyn took stock of the costs. Though the Dromek threat ended, many lives were lost defending their homes. Makeshift med centers overflowed with injured from all races, now fighting as allies rather than antagonists. She helped Kadok and Orl tend wounded as cleanup squads combed the city. As night fell, they emerged exhausted but satisfied in their work. All but one trauma hut had been cleared, containing critical cases who yet clung to life through strength of spirit alone. Steeling herself, Lyn entered the dim chamber. Rows of beds stretched silent and still, healed survivors sedated to recover fully. At the far end, one figure lingered, their ragged breaths the lone sound in the sepulchral gloom. Lyn moved closer, heart clenching as weak lamplight fell upon a familiar form. It was Talik, brave hunter who had fought at her side since the clan found her as an orphan babe. Grievous burns covered her once lively frame, and each inhalation seemed to take immense effort. Taking Talik's hand gently in hers, Lyn choked back tears. "You fought so valiantly, my sister. Now rest, for the tribe needs your spirit to guide us in your—" Her words stopped as Talik's eyes fluttered open, fighting through a haze of anguish to focus on Lyn's face. With last embers of strength, she rasped, "Guide them well." A shuddering exhalation, then stillness as Talik's light passed beyond recall. Lyn broke down, sobbing, squeezing Talik's lifeless fingers. Of all she had witnessed and felt since encountering the humans, few blows compared to this one. Talik had been her confidant, protector, and friend since earliest memories, a beacon of courage now forever dimmed. Outside, Kadak and Oral waited solemnly. Lynn emerged, cheeks stained but with steely resignation in her watery eyes. The clan has lost one of its brightest this day, but Talik gave everything so that humanity might thrive in freedom. Her sacrifice will inspire our people for generations. Oral rested an armored hand upon her shoulder supportively. Your friend was no less valiant in spirit than any Dromic trooper. Though our races once stood apart, in defending the innocent we became as kin. Talik's memory shall endure in our histories too. Kadak spoke gently. Dark times have passed, but rebuilding requires unity above all. Our alliance allowed both humans and Dromic to fulfill potentials kept dormant by fear and division. Now let Talik's flame light the way as we shape a just future together. Lynn took comfort in their words, carrying Talik's memory forever in her heart, as testament to all that could be achieved through fellowship, even in humanity's infancy. Though the road ahead remained long, she set forth with renewed hope kindled by one brave soul's last gift, a vision of peace between all people under the stars. Cycles passed as Kurzaz Prime healed and flourished under the protective watch of the Federation. Humans and Dromic lived intermingled as close allies, sharing knowledge and skills to uplift one another. Lynn had matured into a capable leader, guiding her people into new frontiers of science, philosophy, and diplomacy. She joined Kadak and Oral, representing humanity in interstellar summits, where her unique insights often inspired novel approaches to unity. Tales of their unlikely alliance spread widely. It was during one such forum that a mysterious ambassador approached. Your accomplishments fill us with hope, yet dark times approach. Forces covet the stars' wonders for tyranny, not enlightenment. Aid us against them, and a place may be found among us. Bewildered, Lynn and her companions returned to Kurzaz Prime. There in orbit awaited sleek arrowhead vessels unlike any registry. They welcomed the humans and Dromic aboard, transporting them into hyperspace at dizzying speeds. When the anomaly dissipated, a gas giant world hung before them, its moons teeming with artificial constructs. "Behold our home, the Saurian Collective," said the ambassador. "We watch and safeguard, never interfering, until now." It introduced the Collective, an ancient confederacy of species enlightened in the arts of science, ethics, and empathy through diligent nonviolence. But a grave threat had emerged even they could not face alone. The Derek Imperium spanned worlds, ruthless in subjugating all to power, mad autocrats. Their machinations were subtle but brought entire sectors under brutal regimen if left unchecked. The ambassador entreated humanity and its Dromic allies to stand with the Collective. "Through you small but mighty union was forged from greatest of adversities," the ambassador said. "With our teachings and your fierce yet principled spirits lending hope, balance may be restored where tyranny had thought victory assured." Days were spent in consultations as Lynn weighed the proposition. Though humanity had only just entered the stars, could they risk fighting empires to uphold freedom? But to refuse aid to such an ethical alliance also felt against their nature. In the end, Lynn's vision gave her clarity. The Imperium poses a menace not just to the Collective, but all who value peace, justice, and self-determination. While humanity is young, our experience proves unity across species overcomes the darkest motives. We will stand with you, not just for survival, but to ensure no being suffers tyranny again. Soon, primitive colony vessels were undergoing refits alongside Saurian warships. Technologies once thought miracles were imparted to the humans, and Dromic, so they might aid as equals. Under Orwell's gifted tutelage, neural cybernetics evolved clades into an almost empathic partnership, linking their fleet. The Imperium remained unaware as the budding alliance massed at a strategically located world. When their armada arrived to claim the system, they were met not with compliant surrender, but the fiery defiance of a coalition now spanning myriad stars, defending the sanctity of all sentient life. And so, under Lynn's inspired leadership, humanity took its first steps among the galactic community not as barely evolved specimens, but as principled guardians of justice, diversity, and free will. Their story had only just begun,